Smythe. Coming up in the newscast, man murdered by common-law wife in Manchester. 26 guns seized at Kingston Wharves in less than 48 hours. Authorities vow to stop predators from targeting school children. Vendors Association concerned about implications the extended state of public emergency may have on commercial activities. Opposition raises more concerns regarding the future of state-owned oil refinery Petrojam, and Education Ministry launching website to assist students, teachers and parents in preparing for primary exit profile PEP after mock exam results show students are underprepared. In business, local stock market listed as top performer in the world. In the region, Guyana Teachers Union again threatening strike action. And further overseas, French authorities uncover international sex trading ring with Nigerian women being forced into prostitution. And in sports, West Indies made to toil on the opening day of their first test against India. Now for the news in detail. A 39-year-old man was stabbed to death by his common-law wife during an alleged domestic dispute in Woodlands, Manchester, Thursday morning. More from Kimberly Broderick.
What seems to be a happy home is sometimes everything but. Reports are that around 7 o'clock Thursday morning, the woman stabbed Coleman in the neck after he used a machete to beat her at their home in Woodlands. The Manchester police were summoned to the scene and the scene of crime alerted to the body. Moments later, neighboring residents and a funeral home were outside the premises. The police say both Coleman and his common-law wife have made complaints about each other for varying reasons. Frontline News understands that Coleman took refuge at the home of his longtime friend after he was stabbed, and it was there that he succumbed to his injuries.
No, he died on my veranda. I was at the field looking at my animal, and my wife called me and said, "Must come because Bambo gets stabbed and he's on my veranda." And it looked like it's serious. When I run and come, he said, "Brother Keith, I got dead, I got dead, I got dead." And that was about 2-3 minutes time after that he died.
Residents in the community look on as they witness the body being taken out of the house. His friend explained that this is a tragic loss for the community.
He is loved by the community and everybody live good in the community. And as you can see, the people that gather around, we are all from one community. We all live loving, and the lady that do the act, he's not from this community. He's from a different parish, you know, so we all miss him. I'm sorry to know that he have gone the way he have gone.
This was not the first, but it was certainly the last dispute shared between the couple.
They always have a dispute from time to time, but it never reached nowhere in the stage that weapon was brought into play.
The woman was taken into police custody following the incident. Kimberly Broderick, Frontline News.
4 persons are now in police custody in connection with a major gun and ammunition seizure at the Kingston Wharves on Wednesday. Michael Sharp tells us more.
During a snap operation carried out by the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Branch, CTOC, and the Police Narcotics Division with support from the Contraband Enforcement Team of the Jamaica Customs Agency, a barrel containing grocery items was scanned and abnormalities were discovered. 9 pistols, 1 Uzi submachine gun, 26 magazines, and 640 rounds of ammunition and a silencer were seized. The barrel was sent from Georgia in the United States and destined for an address in Mona, St. Andrew. A 43-year-old male taxi operator and a 24-year-old unemployed man, both of Kingston 13 addresses, have been arrested. 2 women were also picked up during the subsequent operations. A total of 2,342 firearms and 43,766 rounds of ammunition have been seized between September 17, 2015 and September 30, 2018. A sum of $100 million is available in rewards for information leading to the seizure of weapons and ammunition and explosives. Rifles, submachine guns, $150,000. Semi-automatic pistols and shotguns, $100,000. Revolvers, $75,000. and explosives and ammunition negotiable. Persons with information leading to the seizure of weapons are being asked to contact Crime Stop at 311 or the nearest police station. Michael Sharp, Frontline News.
And for the second time in less than 48 hours, there has been yet another major gun find. Frontline News understands that on Thursday, 16 9mm pistols, 16 magazines, and 1 9mm round were found at a Kingston container terminal. The family of a woman who was last week murdered and decapitated allegedly by her Jamaican-born husband at their home in Georgia in the U.S. is speaking about the brutal attack. 33-year-old Jermaine Jones is accused of stabbing 47-year-old Opal Fern Kristen Jones several times. Mrs. Kristen Jones's sister says her sibling was being abused by her husband but went out of her way to hide it. A Georgia sheriff says he will ask the court to consider the death penalty for the Jamaican immigrant. The authorities vow to stop predators from targeting school children. This comes amidst calls from student leaders and principals at a meeting at St. George's College on Tuesday. More in this report from Marian Myrie.
The recent increase in attacks against school children in the corporate area in particular has prompted the relevant authorities to move apace to address the problem. Director of Safety and Security in Schools at the Ministry of Education, ASP Coleridge Minto, says ongoing preventative measures will be beefed up to tackle head-on those that will victimize our children.
The police did give a commitment that there's going to be increase and a dedicated uniform patrol, marked vehicle that will be there. That will be complemented by private security patrols. In the security fields, one of the things we talk about is prevention.
Yes.
And if we can, by the mere presence of officers, uniform officers around, patrols by private security, prevent things from happening within that geographic location, then we would have accomplished at least one objective.
Right.
Certainly, it's perhaps not going to be the only thing that we're talking about, but we want to prevent it from happening.
Students are being urged to report incidences of robbery, physical and sexual assault to the police when they happen.
And one of the things I must point out, and very early, is that a number of the incidents that occur on the road, they're not reported to the police. And the superintendent from St. Andrew Central, the territorial officer, made the point because it hampers a proper investigation if they're to put a case file together and for it to go to court. And so we have been saying, if you lost your cell phone, if you've been tagged, go and report it. That's the first thing you want, and allow the police to do the work.
What further action can students take to protect themselves? The Regional Director of the Southeast Region Child Protection and Family Services Agency, Robert Williams, says awareness is key.
While it is okay for them to say, well, I'm a child and I have a right to be free, some of the older children must realize that we are living in a different space. Today, Jamaica, they must realize that we are living in a different space and not everywhere is safe. So they must be aware. And we're saying while they may want to stop and have a little fun, some of these areas, because they know that they are unsafe, they must pay attention. And we're saying don't idle along certain corridors. Make sure you know what is happening. You know who is coming, who is behind you, who is in front of you. Make sure you don't have an expensive gadget. The phone that you're using, perhaps you're not supposed to be even using it there. So don't be just naive to what is happening, because we realize that the predators know where the weaknesses lie and they're looking out. And the reality is they will prey on the children if they realize that they are not aware.
Additionally, there is an app to further assist students in this regard.
That is called Stay Alert from the Ministry of National Security. And many students there were not aware of it.
Really?
We want, and we're saying to them, download the Stay Alert app. It is at least on your device. If something happens, even if you're not the victim, but you can press the panic button and you can give information in real time.
Mr. Williams also urges the involvement of the community.
What it leads back to is the engagement of the community, because some of the times these spots are not very far from where the schools are.
Yes.
And we are saying the community ought to take responsibility, because within these communities, some of these, they have systems. Some of them, they know the persons. Sometimes they know the perpetrators of these robberies. And when some communities come together, and we believe, and that's why we try to engage the community, because the police cannot be there all the time.
They were speaking on JNN and RGR 94 FM's hotline interface on Thursday. Marian Mary, Frontline News.
The Jamaica Vendors, Higglers and Markets Association is concerned about possible negative implications the extended state of public emergency could have on commercial activities in downtown Kingston. The House of Representatives on Tuesday approved a resolution for an extension of the state of public emergency until January 7. President of the association, Dunstan Whittingham, is worried this will discourage the Christmas shopping season. Mr. Whittingham says some vendors have already reported a decline in sales due to the security measure. The state of public emergency, which was declared on September 23, covers sections of the Kingston Central, Kingston Western and the St. Andrews South Police Divisions. Opposition spokesman on energy, Philip Paulwell, raised more concerns during Wednesday's sitting of Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriations Committee regarding the future of the state-owned oil refinery Petrojam. Marian Myrie gives the details.
Mr. Paulwell noted that aspects of the refinery upgrade have again been pushed back. He said there would be a serious effect on Petrojam when the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, exits the market for heavy fuel and diesel.
There's this continuing concern about the future of Petrojam, and the project that was earmarked in the budget for this year has been shifted, and it therefore means that that timeline that we have been watching in relation to when the country is shifting to LNG vis-a-vis heavy fuel oil, that timeline is running and the project is not happening.
Petrojam is seeking to upgrade its vacuum distillation unit. This unit helps with the conversion of heavy fuel oil to other products used for the bunkering industry and the production of asphalt. The upgrade has become particularly urgent, with the JPS set to switch to liquefied natural gas when its new 190-megawatt plant in Old Harbour, St. Catherine, is commissioned next June. Mr. Paulwell has noted that the demand for heavy fuel oil by independent power producers is not enough to ensure the continued viability of Petrojam. In the meantime, Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister Audrey Sewell noted that a review committee which was recently set up is expected to address the concerns raised by Mr. Paulwell.
You will recall that a review committee has been set up by the Prime Minister to look at Petrojam in its entirety and to make recommendations. They have started their work, and we are hoping that whatever their findings are and recommendations will take care of or address some of the concerns that you may have.
Marian Mary, Frontline News.
Frontline News understands that government officials have held meetings as attempts are being made to end the strike by scores of workers employed to two major road projects in the corporate area. It is reported that the talks Thursday involved representatives of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, as well as China Harbour Engineering Company Czech, the contractor for the projects. 150 workers involved in the construction of the Mandela Highway, as well as the overpass at Portia Simpson Miller Square, remain off the job for a fifth day. They are upset about poor working conditions and low wages. The workers insist that they will remain off the job until their concerns are addressed. The Union of Clerical, Administrative and Supervisory Employees UKs is concerned that the Ministry of Labour has not yet intervened.
That the Ministry of Labour is doing some investigation. We haven't heard from the ministry. We haven't heard from the management, China Harbour. But what we can say is that the workers are very strong, they are very resolute, and they have decided not to return until discussion takes place. And, you know, this really underlines the level of disrespect that has been shown to the worker from the commencement of that project. In fact, this is clear evidence that, you know, the workers are being treated very, very badly.
Solution has been established for the issue of the shipping containers pileup at the Kingston Freeport Terminal. President of the Customs Brokers and Freight Forwarders Association, Mitzi Gordonberg Green, is reporting that the solution will result in extended business hours. More from Janae Williams.
On Tuesday, the association reported a pending crisis because of the pileup, which was getting worse due to operational changes at the port. Added to the backlog were mounting fees, which were calculated daily and in US dollars. Mrs. Burke Green said a decision was made about the changes, which will take effect this week.
Since our last communication, KFTL had a meeting with Customs, and we have been advised that we will have some extended hours on Thursday and Friday from up to 7 p.m., so they will work up to 7 p.m., and again on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., which should help to reduce the backlog.
And Mrs. Burke Green has also pointed out that based on the meeting, a more long-term solution is being sought.
I think the discussions hopefully will also look at the challenges that are being experienced and to put things in place to ensure that we don't get back to this position again anytime soon. And that's critical, especially that we're now going into our busiest season for our industry.
Janae Williams, Frontline News.
And the Ministry of Education will be launching a website on Friday to assist students, teachers and parents in preparing for the Primary Exit Profile PEP. Codian Barrett tells us more.
The website will have the national standards curriculum, of which PEP is a component. Related materials such as sample items and links to other educational services will also be on the website. Speaking at the Education Ministry's quarterly media briefing, Education Minister Senator Ruel Reid noted that the website is being developed in collaboration with eLearning Jamaica. It was also announced that the Grade 6 Performance Task exam for PEP, which was scheduled for December, has been pushed back to March 2019 after the results of the mock exam showed that students are woefully underprepared. 83% of the students met or nearly met the standards for English language, 48% for mathematics, 52% for social studies, and 22% for science. Codian Barrett, Frontline News.
And today, October 4, marks some memorable events in our history. Here are a few of those events. In 1953, the Ministry of Health and Housing is informed by the Secretary of State for the Colonies that the UK Treasury is agreeing to the release of $17,500 for the purchase of ambulances in the United States. In 1959, Jamaica indicates at the Trinidad Federal Conference that 31 out of 65 seats are accepted instead of 32 out of 65. Norman Manley broadcasts to Jamaica the reasons for this. He says, quote, "We do not think we need to insist on the very last ounce," end quote, so long as the principle of representation according to population will be fairly applied. In 1966, the state of emergency declared in Western Kingston and parts of southwestern St. Andrew continues as the police and military concentrated on the same specially cordoned off area surrounding the JLP's and PNP's West Kingston headquarters at Wellington and Regent Streets. In 1982, Prime Minister Edward Seaga announces that the government is establishing a major entertainment and recreational complex in Montego Bay. It is to be called the Bob Marley Memorial Performing Center and will be located at Montego Freeport. And in 1987, P.J. Patterson celebrates 30 years of political life as the chairman of the People's National Party at a dinner organized by Friends of Southeast Westmoreland. Tribute is paid to his political life, which began in 1957 when he was a student representative to the Coordinating Bureau of International Students Conference. And those are some of the significant events of October 4. And we now take a break. We'll have Frontline Business when we return.
maker Mobileye, and German automaker Daimler AG with supplier Bosch to develop autonomous taxis. General Motors has been widely viewed as being in second place in the autonomous vehicle race, with Google's Waymo on top. Waymo plans to put autonomous vehicles on the road in a ride-sharing service in the Phoenix area before the end of this year, while General Motors has said it plans to roll out its fully autonomous vehicles for passengers to use in 2019. Sasha Lee Hamilton, Frontline Business.
On the foreign exchange market on Thursday, the US dollar on average is being sold for $134.01. The Canadian went for $104.28, the pound sterling for $175.79, and the euro for $156.14. In Thursday's trading session, the JSE Combined Index declined by 819 points to close at over 300,000. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 57 stocks, of which 35 advanced, 18 declined, and 4 traded firm. The Junior Market Index advanced by 19 points to close at 3,400. Stocks advancing were AMG Packaging and Paper, Caribbean Cream, Diamond Trading, Dolphin Cove, and Elite Diagnostic. Stocks declining were Berger Paints, Blue Power Group, CAC 2000, Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances, and Caribbean Producers. Trading firm were 1834 Investments, Cargo Handlers, Caribbean Cement, Siboney Group, and Consolidated Bakers. Carreras Limited was the volume leader with over 46 million units, followed by JMMB Group with over 1 million units and Siboney Group Limited with approximately 760,000 units. And in news in oil prices fell on Thursday as the prospect of increased crude production from Saudi Arabia and Russia prompted profit-taking the day after futures hit 4-year highs on a boost from imminent U.S. sanctions on OPEC's #1 producer, Iran. Brent crude futures fell $1.71 or 1.98% to settle at $84.58 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate WTI crude futures fell $2.08 to settle at $74.33 a barrel, a 2.72% loss. And that's it for Frontline Business. I'm Cody Ann Barrett. Pleasant viewing.